Hey guys, I'm Morthadon, and we are back for My Hero Academia Season 4, Episode 6. It's also number 69 of total, which is good number. Good number, 69. Yeah. Uh, yeah, guys. One thing real quick that I missed on the last episode, because every now and then, when I'm trying to read the subtitles and I'm trying to, talk to, you guys at the same time, I sometimes miss some things, and one of the things I did miss was while they were introducing, what's the name? Oh no, it's on the top of my tongue. But the manifest guy, Sun Eater is his hero name. I can't. I'm a Jiki, I think, or I'm a Kiji. I think it's one of those. I've read the thing wrong, and I had a little bit in my discussion where I talked about whether he can, if it's any food he's eaten his entire life, or it's only what he's eaten recently. And I forget exactly what the line said, but it said something along the lines of, what he has in his stomach, or something like that. Something to imply, like I said, I forget how it's worded, but it's implying that it's what he's eaten recently, So it's not everything he's eaten in his entire life is what he can manifest. So it's not as OP as I thought. It's still a very strong quirk. And I was actually just in the shower before I recorded this, thinking about it, thinking about if there's anything I gotta mention before I start this video and everything. And I thought about it, and I was like, he must have some really weird breakfasts. If he has morning patrols and stuff like that, where he goes out before lunch, that means for breakfast he has to eat some of this exotic stuff. So he's eating octopus, chicken, all that stuff for breakfast. Which, I'll be honest, I do that sometimes too. But I still realize that when I'm doing it, I'm I'm freaking eating chicken for breakfast. This is my life. I realize something's wrong with it. But he does it for his quirk, and it makes sense. But I don't know. That was just a quick little thing that I thought about. But anyways, for what else happened last episode, we had a really cool Kirishima episode. We found out that Sue and Uraraka's group is going to be meeting up with Midoriya's group and going after Overhaul. We got to see Red Riot Unbreakable, which was really cool. And we got a little further talk about the quirk, the quirk removing bullet stuff that Overhaul has, as well as something that we've heard of, I think, or theory crafted or whatnot. But we got a little bit about the quirk enhancing stuff as well. So that's some interesting stuff too. So yeah, guys, I'm really looking forward to what happens next. I'm hoping we get, I'm sure we're going to be getting back to Midoriya this episode, possibly, but I also had a theory that we might touch base on Tokoyami, who we haven't seen his little work study yet, which is the only one that we know of that went to one, I believe, and we haven't seen yet. He's with Hawks, the number 3 hero. But I've talked enough. I'm looking forward to what happens this episode, so let's get into it, shall we? Alrighty, guys, so like usual, down in the description, there's going to be a Vimeo link. You guys can click that to get to the reaction, and then you can come back here for the YouTube video, or to the YouTube video for the discussion after you're done watching the reaction. So yeah, guys, go ahead and click that link right now. Alright. Alrighty, guys, so that is the end of episode 6. Oh, that episode was really good. This show, man, it's insane how good this show is. I don't know. Alright, so the first thing I want to mention is the imagery this episode that they did between Overhaul and Eri, the little combination shots that they did between those two. Chilling. I don't think I've ever gotten chills before by an episode just talking about a villain, right? Usually when I get chills, it's some kind of, epic fight in some shows, But this episode managed to give me chills so many times when they're just sitting here talking about a villain that they're gonna fight in the future. And that is something special that, out of all the shows I've seen so far, My Hero is one of the first to do this so consistently to me, put these on, like, these emotional highs and lows, and there's a lot of good shows out there, and they have a lot of good moments, and, there's some shows I've cried in, there's some shows I felt, like, insane hype in when I watched them and stuff like that. But this is, like, episode to episode, it's, like, almost every episode in, like, the last season and this one, almost every single episode, except for, like, the occasional, like, kind of silly fillery ones, even though I don't really think there's any filler in My Hero. But I don't. Oh man. Whew, okay, let's talk about the episode now. The show, man. So, like I kind of thought, based off what we had in the beginning bit in the episode title, we had a lot of talking this episode. But I like how they didn't spend the whole time doing, like, boring discussion. They brought in a lot of, like, interesting points. They brought up a lot of, like, really cool moments between the characters and stuff like that to still make it be a very interesting and fun episode. So we had all the planning, which I think is probably the most dull part of the episode, because for the most part we knew a lot of what they portrayed, We know Overhaul is distributing the quirk removal stuff and probably the quirk enhancing stuff. And so this was just filling in all these different heroes and stuff and all that. But the really good stuff came in when they talked about how they analyzed the stuff thanks to Kirishima, which is why Fat Gum wanted him there, even though they didn't know they had anything to do with Overhaul, but they did because of the quirk removing drug and stuff like that whole situation that they went through and everything. So it's really cool that Fat Gum brought him in. They got, like, basically it just gave Kirishima even more validation of how much he succeeded in that episode, because he was able to stop that bullet, he was able to save the drug that was in there, and we were able to analyze it, find out it's made of, like, human blood and cells, I think they said. I know it's human blood, I'm not sure if they said cells as well, I think they did. And that, like, instantly snapped Midoriya and Mirio, and it took me a second, because, no, I pretty much caught on right away that they were talking about Eri, most likely. But I guess I underestimated how smart the characters are. I didn't think the characters were gonna catch on so quickly to this situation, So I was, like, really shocked by that scene where it just showed Mirio and, Midoriya just go cold, stone-faced and, like, scared and, like, holy shit moment, And I kind of, like, it almost took me out of it because I was so shocked that happened. I was like, wait, what? But so they realized right away, pretty much, that it was, that's what Eri was being used for, she's having her blood drained and stuff like that, which is probably why she has the bandages to cover all, like, potentially all the needle marks of where they drew blood, and oh man. But it's interesting because Overhaul is able to... They described it this episode as, like, deconstruct and reconstruct kind of stuff, which makes sense. He's kind of, like, deconstructing their matter, and that's why they were, like, the, what were they called? The something dogs? Oh, shoot. I can't think of it. But you guys know who I'm talking about. Those other villains, like the very minor ones that were, like, stealing a cash register, and they got, like, morphed into the floor and stuff, but then he was able to restore them as well, so... And they attributed that to the connection of his daughter, So I wonder if his daughter somehow got, like, a quirk from whoever the mother is. If we still don't know for sure that it's a daughter, we're going based off Overhaul's word, which obviously isn't, like, entirely accurate. But I wonder if it's either another form of his, like, destruction or deconstruction, whatever. If it's a form of that, or if it's a form of, maybe a combination of the both, because we know that quirks can fuse in kids, So maybe there was something where, like, if My Hero Academia wanted to go super dark, something I just thought about was, if Overhaul has been this way for a long time, if he's been this kind of, like, mob boss kind of thing, or even if he was in, like, this mafia sort of situation and he started planning at a young age, what if he purposely picked someone whose quirk could merge with his in the right way to be able to create Eri in a way, almost like Endeavor did with Todoroki. But it could be even darker, because Endeavor got Todoroki's mom by buying off, like, the family members. It was like an arranged marriage, that was something that was still legal at the time. So technically what Endeavor did was legal, even though it was, in that morally gray or morally wrong territory, But what if Overhaul didn't do that? What if he abducted a girl and, like, raped her or something and made her have his kid, And then, because what Eri said at the end kind of implies that it could be something like that too, because she said that she has never had anybody treat her as nicely as Midoriya did. Right? Like, all these people try, but she can tell it's fake. Like, even this guy at the end credit knew that the guy, or yeah, what am I trying to say? Knew that the guy was kind of faking it, but she was able to tell that Midoriya was sincere about everything that he did and everything. So, it's possible that she was taken at birth and just raised to be this, It's such a dark thought, but it just came into my mind just now, so I was like, damn. There's also the possibility that when he saw the quirk, like, maybe they did have a good relationship. Maybe it was, like, a nice family thing. Overhaul, the wife or girlfriend, or however that worked, the mom of Eri. If they even are the parents, we still don't even know that. But if it is that's the case, he might have saw the quirk and then established this whole plan, That kind of thing. I don't know. There's so many ways they could write this, but either way, it's so fantastic the way it's going. I mean, not for Eri, but story-wise, I'm very much enjoying this. Man. But yeah, just the defeat in their eyes and everything was so hurtful, and, like, I felt for them, man. Especially Mirio. Like, Midoriya did just about all he could, and so did Mirio, but Mirio was way more like, ditch the girl, this isn't part of what we're supposed to be doing, and now he sees, like, what is going on, and I think he realizes, like, I think he probably feels even worse than Midoriya does, But man, I cannot get over those shots. I want to, like, go back and look at them too, of, like, just Overhaul being, like, over with all, like, the raven feathers coming down, and Eri being, like, all, like, torn up underneath him, and oh man. Whew. Okay. So the plan is that they got all these guys, which is really cool. They got all these guys from all these different areas around Japan in order to keep up normal appearances in those areas, so that the local heroes that already have been there and are recognized by, probably, if Overhaul's goons are in the area or whatever, they're not going to be like, who's this new hero looking around, They're going to be like, oh yeah, it's just that hero. He's just a lowly, whatever hero. He doesn't mean anything, So that's the plan. He's going to have all these, lesser heroes who are in all these areas go back to where they came from. They're going to keep an eye on these potential areas that could be Overhaul's hideout. They're going to try to get his hideout information, and then they're going to be raiding it. So I talked about how there's a lot of heroes here. Now, I don't know if in the actual siege, when they go and they actually attack Overhaul, if it's gonna be this whole group here, This whole group could just be the scouting regiment, and then they bring in the heavy hitters for when they go to take down Overhaul. Potentially, I don't know. Because I'm not sure if Overhaul is justified to be taken down by all the heavy hitters yet, Like, even some of the people here who they mentioned were, some of the lesser heroes, they even said, like, you don't have any better proof that Overhaul's doing some stuff, So they don't quite have the proof yet to prove Overhaul's doing bad stuff, which means they might not be able to convince, people like Endeavor or, Hawks, like the number 3 hero, I think it was, that Tokoyami, I keep saying the wrong name, went to, and some of the other, top 10 or, heroes showing up or something, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how that goes, but oh man. And then getting us to the sort of the ending bit where they were all talking together at the table. They're trying to cheer up, like, Amakiji or Amajiki, I can't remember which one it is. And what's her name? Shoot. We just had it, like, probably showed it this episode. I can't remember. Was it Hado? Her name might have been like Hado or something like that, but I don't know. Yeah, they're not popping up names right there. Okay, I think it's Hado. I can't remember the Nejire or something, right? Nejire Hado, I think, something like that. Anyways, regardless, sorry. That whole moment at the end was really good. They were trying to cheer Mirio up, and then, Midoriya was talking through all his stuff, and then when Aizawa showed up, that was just so cool, because even though Aizawa is somewhat, being like Midoriya, I only let you stay here because I'm worried that you're gonna run off and do something on your own again, So this time, I'm gonna let you do this the real way. You're gonna be involved, but you have to do it the real way, right? But it was very touching because it's definitely Aizawa just caring for his students, right? It's not that he's angry, it's not that he's trying to, talk down to Midoriya. He even gets down on Midoriya's level and talks to him, And it was just a really cool moment between the two and all that, so I absolutely love that. And then the ending bit just friggin'... I was already, like, kind of emotional from seeing that scene. Like, that scene really got to me, Aizawa and Midoriya together, with, like, the bright lights of, like, the sunset in the background again, just like it was for All Might and stuff, and talking to... And also, Gran Torino talking to Night Eye, with Night Eye saying he's a lot like All Might. Like, those scenes got to me a bit, and then we went through the ending, And then we had the after credit see, like, that just nearly destroyed me. Like, if that scene went on any longer, I'd have tears, like, rolling down my face. My eyes watered up so much and everything. Like, just poor Eri in this dark room, all alone, like, and even the people that come in are just hired goons that definitely, like, don't show the kind of care that a child needs. They're just throwing toys at her so that way she, like, is happy, and she's just not. And all she can think about is how gentle and nice Midoriya was, and she just friggin' falls asleep crying probably, and I'm gonna friggin' cry again. Oh, guys, this episode was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad. Like, there was a point where I didn't know how to integrate My Hero Academia into my reaction channel. Because at the time when I started doing reactions, I stopped watching My Hero, but I stopped watching at the end of season 3 with like 5 episodes left. So, as you guys probably know, that, you know, if you're new or whatnot, this, you know, this whole playlist, if you went to the playlist anyway, it starts off at like season 3 episode like 20 something, you know. But I did a rewatch series on the channel, and that was kind of my solution. It didn't pan out as well as I hoped it did. You know, the view count wasn't too great, so I don't think I'll be doing that with any other shows. But what I did was I gave full length to everybody, so that way you guys could sync with me and watch through. It also saved me the hassle of editing all those episodes, you know, to do the catch up, which allowed me to release 4 a week and got me caught up for this season. And I was able to finish off season 3 doing actual reactions after that. And then I did, you know, I started season 4, and now I'm watching it, you know, as it airs with you guys and everything. And it's just, I'm really glad I'm able to react to this, because this show is so damn good. But yeah, guys, I think that pretty much sums up. I mean, there was so much to unpack in this episode. Like, I definitely forgot some stuff, you know? Like, I don't know. Because there was just... I'm trying to skip through the episode, because, like... I feel like there was other, like, small minor things that I didn't talk about. I guess, like, that one dude that was so adamant on making fun... Oh, no, there was some stuff I missed. Okay, back to discussion stuff. So, to continue what I was just saying, the dude that was kind of hating on the kid stuff, I get it, right? Like, I understand that when you're in an official meeting like this, having kids there talking about, like, some minor stuff, like, I think it was when, they were talking about the Hero Network, you know, and how they didn't know what that was, so they had to explain it. You know, they're wasting time where these heroes could be out, you know, doing stuff, saving people. I get it. When he said that first bit, I was like, yeah, you make sense, you know? You were kind of rude about it, but... And then, like, he continued on, like, every scene with him was like, well, I don't think these kids should be here, but I'll give you my point. And the next line, these kids are dragging us down, but... And then he gives his next point, you know? It was a little excessive, like... We got it the first time, buddy. You can calm down, you know? But that's really all I wanted to say about that. As for the other thing I realized, the whole Night Eye thing, I don't know how I forgot to mention it, with, the whole connection between All Might, where Aizawa told him, like, can't you just use your foresight on all of us? And technically he could. Technically, they could take, you know... Like, how many people were in that room? Like, I'm gonna say no more than 20 people were in that room. So they could take 20 days and have him just check one person each day. But the thing is, like, he's scarred from what happened to All Might, which Night Eye, I can definitely see it for him, but at the same time, I thought maybe Night Eye wouldn't be as scarred from this, because he seems like a very logical person, right? So I was thinking he might not be the kind of person that would hinder himself, like hinder his uh, like his insight and his his planning and stratagem and stuff like that based off his emotions, At first I didn't think he'd be like that, but he is. Like, the whole crap with All Might really got to him. Seeing his heroes like merciless death so far in the past, where now he has to just wait for that day to happen. He has no precedence as to whether or not that it can be, prevented. So he is just stuck waiting, and he's terrified to have that kind of fate, um, like, on his mind for anybody else. Even though I'm sure a lot of these heroes, he's not as, like, attached to, of course. So it might not be as bad if he were to actually do it. Like, obviously, if you see someone's death, that's a really shitty thing, But it's not like seeing All Might's death, who is someone that was a hero to you. You were his sidekick and everything and all that, but man, that was just like, it was crazy seeing him like so defeated trying to explain that the best way he could, and even then, like, when they were like pushing him to do it, he just had his head down, and I think it was someone else that kind of spoke up and said, well, let's just continue, Like, that was rough, man. Oh, this episode had so much good stuff. Good golly gosh. I thought it's interesting, the whole drug thing, though. The drug that destroys the genes of the quirk, but it apparently, like, it doesn't, they implied it doesn't have lasting effects. But they got me really worried when they used the term destroy, right? They were like, it destroys quirks. I was like, oh shit, Amakichi, are you okay? But they said the next day he was fine. But that means, if it wasn't until the next day, that means it, took nearly, I guess they were out at night. So you could say, like, even if it lasts for an hour, that's ridiculous. But if it lasts for 4 or 5 hours, that's just insane. You just take a hero completely out of the fight unless they try to fight, like, just fisticuffs them, But, man, that's crazy. But yeah, I was a lot more scared when they said destroy quirks. It ended up being okay, but it does destroy the genes, unlike Aizawa, who just, like, locks them down. Which is an interesting distinction, although the genes are able to heal themselves. But I wonder if you were to introduce enough of that drug, if it could potentially, like, do permanent damage, I don't know. That's, like, crazy to think about, like, if that was possible, because it seems weird that they'd make it be something, the writers made it be a drug that destroys genes, and they managed to, like, they stressed on it this episode, but then you're able to heal from it completely fine, like, easy peasy. So it really makes me think that there is going to be more to that, where someone might get a much bigger injection of this drug, and it might destroy their quirk genes for good. Or, Overhaul might experiment with it to make that be his goal, to destroy quirks in general, and all that. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I wonder how in-depth Overhaul's plan is gonna be, because we still don't know. We obviously know he has this drug, these 2 drugs, which are gonna be used to, fight off the heroes, essentially. And he thinks that heroes are a illness in society, so definitely not good for our heroes with him, with that kind of ideology, but yeah. I am really looking forward to what goes on this season, how long this conflict takes to resolve, and like what Overhaul's plan is. Like Overhaul, like with the whole Airy thing, originally I was thinking, okay, he's, you know, a big bad, he's some mafia boss, like until the Airy stuff really started to kick up, I wasn't intimidated by him after All for One. But now with the like the whole Airy thing like lingering over us, he is definitely like got my attention now. So I could see him being a villain that lasts a while if they wanted to, you know. They could do this raid and he could get away, you know, and this could be something that drags on, and it's also something to say where even if they get Eri back, they might not be safe. Like if you think about it, I have no idea how much blood you can take from someone and how often you can take that amount again. Like, I don't know, like, if they could take, like, a liter of your blood and you'd be okay or something. But then I don't know how long it could be until they take that much blood again. You know, but if he's been doing this for years, he could have a lot of blood stored up. And he could make this drug again. So even if they get Eri back, the situation might not be resolved, you know? You could hope that it kills itself off, but he could also initiate whatever plan he has before, you know, he runs through all of his, like, remaining stock of Eri blood, you know? Which is just a disgusting thing to think about. But, yeah. I don't know, guys. I'm really looking forward to what this show has to offer for the rest of the time it goes on. But, anyways, thank you for watching, guys. I think that's going to be it for me. If you guys want to support the channel, you can hit that subscribe button. You can also go into the description where there's a link to my Patreon where you can get access to full-length, early access, some of those nice rewards like that. Although early access is not available for My Hero Academia since I watch it as it airs. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But you will have access to full-length, which is... I like full length anyways. When I watch reactions, I much prefer seeing them watch the whole episode instead. But I also try to be I'm very careful with my money right now because I don't have a lot of it. So I unfortunately can't become patrons to a lot of people that I wish I could. But that being said, either way, I don't know why I'm talking about this. If you guys want to support me, that's where you can do it. I very, very, very much appreciate it if you guys do, and all that. But if you can't, that's perfectly fine as well. I understand, because I'm in that situation where most of the time I can't. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this reaction, and I will see you guys in the next one next week. As long as they do an episode next week. Sometimes they don't, but I don't know. Alrighty, guys, that's it from me. Bye-bye.